What's going on, everybody? For those who don't know, my name is Aaron. I'm also known as Droneson. I have been a drone pilot for about 7.5 years or so. Started out FPV, hobbyist. Still fly FPV as a hobbyist. I also got my Part 107. For those that don't know, 107 means that you can do commercial work flying a drone. About 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, I took the test, got my 107, and I purchased a Phantom 4 Pro V2. Um, Started out doing cell towers, then got into doing mapping and commercial work. Um, the Phantom 4 has been a workhorse for me. It's what a majority of my paying gigs come from. Um, I do own a Mavic 3 Pro, which is what I use when I do real estate or anything that doesn't involve using third party apps, which most of the work that I do involves third party apps. So, with a little bit of my background, I've slowly been building my business. I'm a one man business, one man home. I do everything on my own. Through the grace of God and the awesome people in this world, I've had lots of help. People helping me just survive and get through and be able to do what I do, and I love all you guys for that. Um, Bringing you up a little current, uh, I had myself blessed with quite a few jobs to do. Um, Weather's kind of been holding it back. No big deal. It's name of the game. Uh, so on Tuesday, January 28th, I finally got a break in the weather and was able to get out to do some of these jobs. So the jobs that I had lined up were surveying and mapping out some Meyer parking lots so that they can work their magic and do the car charging stations. I was hired in through a third party company. So basically, Myers hires a company that hires a company that hires a company that finally hires me. That's kind of how the industry goes, unless you're in direct contact, which is where you work your way up to. You got to start at the bottom and work to the top, not race to the bottom. Anyways, so I was out doing this job. I had already been out there for a little bit over an hour. And what I do is when I do something like mapping a parking lot, I park far, far, far away from everybody. The furthest point away from all people, traffic, cars, anything that I can. I wear a bright green vest, and it's very noticeable what I'm doing. So I was out doing my job, and I use a dry erase board, and on this dry erase board, when I have jobs that have multiple videos and multiple shots, I write what the shot is, take a picture of it. That way, when I come home and have to upload everything, I don't get things confused. Because when you're in the air, everything kind of looks the same. So my drone was about 4 feet away from me, sitting next to me. I had just turned around in the back of the car to write on my dry erase board what shot I was about ready to get up and do when I hear a car come up pretty quickly, and I hear a loud crunch. And I turn around, and there is a black Lincoln or Mercury, something along those lines. A little bit older of a car, maybe late 90s, early 2000s ish, somewhere in that ballpark. So I turn around, and it took a second to comprehend that this guy just ran my drone over. And my first initial thing is like, oh man, like what? Well, as all this is computing in my head, and this is seconds, guys, seconds going by, he rolls his window down and he starts yelling at me and cussing at me, telling me I'm a spy, that I don't belong there, that I'm a part of the problem, that I need to be eliminated, blah, blah, blah. And there's a bunch of other words in there, guys. So while this is going on, my rage is building because this dude just ran over my drone. And I'm yelling at the dude, and he backs up a little bit, goes back over the drone again. Now, the drone was almost like centered with his car. So when it went over it, the wheels didn't hit it, but it smashed the legs down and it smashed the gimbal, and he crunched it forward and then pulled it back, and then he went forward again and took off, which left my drone kicked out in the back. And as all this is happening, I'm looking at the drone. There was another gentleman in the parking lot who was just kind of sitting there, and this happens a lot when I do these jobs. People watch, they like to spectate. They're curious to what's going on. So he jumps out of his car, and this awesome gentleman, he's a much older guy. He's probably in his mid-60s. He jumps out of his car, starts yelling towards the dude. I'm trying to pull my phone out of my pocket to try to get a picture. I looked at the license plate, guys. I looked right at it. I cannot tell you for the life of me what it said. I everything is just such a blur. And this whole thing happened in like 15, 20 seconds. I mean, he pulled up, rolled his window down, yelled things at me. I yelled back. He backed up. Then he drove forward and drove off. As he backed up is when I started pulling the phone out of my pocket. And I was so frantic about it, I was dropping it. And, by the time I got my phone up and got to the camera app, he was gone. He was long gone. So, the other gentleman that was there, he goes, I'm going to jump in my car and see where that guy went. I'm going to go try to find him. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call the police. I got to file a report over this. So I do that. I make a call to the police station, Woodhaven Police. They send out a cruiser. The officer, she was super nice, guys. I mean, she took the report. She took pictures of the drone, the serial number. She took my information. She took my statement. She took the statement of the witness. And then she instantly went right over to Myers to check the cameras. And there was another building that she thought might have had cameras as well. During all that time, she's doing her thing. I packed up my stuff and, went on with the day trying to figure out. Now, I instantly had to call the company that hired me. And as soon as I let them know what happened, unfortunately, they're a business too. So they had to issue those jobs out to somebody else. Guys, if you hear like a crunching noise, I apologize. My dog, she decided to chew on her chew bone sitting right next to me. So if you guys can hear that, I'm sorry. But the company that hired me had to hire another pilot to get those jobs done. Business is business. I get it. So at that point, the realization of I just lost my main work drone, and I just lost $1,000 worth of work that I had lined up that was next month's bills, guys. I live a paycheck to paycheck, and it's just the way the world is for me. It's the way things are. And the sucky part is I just recently had help from some amazing people, and one amazing person in particular that helped me catch up on some bills and stuff so I can get ahead of things. And this would have put me ahead of everything. So with all that being said, I posted about what had happened in a couple groups, a downriver group and a drone group. And my reason for posting these wasn't for sympathy, wasn't for handouts. I didn't and don't, I can't say I don't want anything from anybody, because any help would be amazing. But it wasn't and isn't my intention. My intent for posting was just hoping maybe either A, the guy who did it would see the video and be like, man, I didn't just, crush a drone. I really screwed this guy's life. Now, does he care? I don't know. I don't know if he cares or not. I doubt it. He didn't care enough to not run my drone over. But maybe somebody's seen it. Maybe somebody overheard this guy talking. Maybe he went to the bar that night, got drunk, and bragged about it to everybody. And maybe somebody in one of those groups heard it. At the end of the day, more than my drone being replaced, more than being compensated for the jobs that I've lost now because of this, more than anything financial, I want that guy to be accounted for. And not only do I want him to be accounted for, but I want an example made to all the people out there that think that they can do this to people. And especially the whole community that has this problem with drones because of what they've heard on the news and what they've seen on TV and what their friends, cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters told them. You know, this stuff's got to stop, because now the job that I do for a living is now it's a dangerous job now. I got to go out and get a body cam. I got to think about having, carrying a weapon to defend myself when I do these things. I'm a drone pilot, guys. I love my job. I love what I do. But now I got this little bit of fear in me that anytime I go out to do a job, what if that guy hit me with his car? What if that guy had a gun and instead of running my drone over, he pulled up and just shot me because he heard on the news that all drones are spying on people, that they're spies from China, that they're looking in windows at people taking showers and spying on their little kids and all this other garbage. Guys, listen, there's bad apples in everything. There really truly is. But you can't just go out destroying people's property. How many people drive recklessly? Do you go out and just start bashing in car windows and popping tires because, that guy could be driving recklessly? You know what I mean? So, a big purpose of the posting is just that. It's me trying to make people aware that, put logic to it. If I was a bad guy, would I be out in the open, outside of my car, in a bright green vest where I'm very visible? And the back of my vest says drone pilot. And my name tag says drone pilot with my phone number. At anytime I've been out doing a job, I have 100% been polite and respectful to anybody who's walked up to me questioning me, even though it, again, on my vest says do not disturb. I always answer questions. I always educate. I always do the best I can to take the fear out of people. And now the fear's in me. I'm 44 years old, guys. I've never been victim. 20 years ago, that guy would have never drove away because I've never been victim. I've always handled my business and held my own. That's the way I came up. That's what I know. Now, unfortunately, the police have closed the case. I was told that the video surveillance from Myers, everything was too far away, that they couldn't get an exact make and model of the car, and they definitely couldn't see the license plate. How far they went into that investigation, I don't know. 2 days later, it was closed, so I'm assuming it probably lasted about 20 minutes after it happened. I would hope that that there was more effort put into it, but I really don't know. But I want to make awareness, and I don't want other drone pilots to be afraid and fear. I will be getting a body cam, and I will be wearing a body cam from here on out when I do drone work. And again, my purpose of posting in the groups wasn't for people to give me handouts, wasn't for people to have pity on me, it wasn't for attention, But with the situation that has happened, a lot of friends started calling me, texting me. A lot of people were asking me about a GoFundMe, and I said no. I don't want a GoFundMe. I don't want to ask people for help. And one of my friends put together a GoFundMe and asked me if it was okay. And after I read it, I approved it. I'm okay with it. I'm getting backlash, and that's why I didn't want it, is because of the backlash that I'm receiving for it. But you know, it is what it is. So, anyways, guys, if you want to help with the GoFundMe, by all means, anything will help. But I'm not going to hold a sign up begging people for help. I'll handle my own, and I'll get back on my feet. I always do. Right now, I have to figure out my rent situation, my bill situation, and how to get another drone that can do the same things that drone did. I appreciate everybody who's reached out. I appreciate all the advice that's been given, all the suggestions that's been given, and I really appreciate all the love that has been given. You guys have been great. As always, I've always been blessed in my life to be surrounded by amazing people, and I don't want anybody to ever feel as if they're being taken advantage of by me. Guys, I got bad luck. I've always had bad luck. Whether it be karma from when I was younger and a complete horrible person, or it's just the way the planets align, or whatever the case may be. But I don't want anybody to ever feel as if I'm taking advantage of them. So, with that being said, guys, this video is already pushing almost 17 minutes long, and I don't want to waste any more of your times. I have reached out to some news stations, some reporters. I want this story out there. I want this guy found, and I want him accountable for what he did. Now, I'm not saying I want a witch hunt. I'm not saying I want this guy burned on a cross. I'm not saying that. I don't want any violence towards him. I don't. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm frustrated. But I don't want any violence. I want him to pay for the damages. I want him to pay for the work that I lost out on. I want to take him to court, and I want to do everything I can to let my misfortune maybe help keep some other people from going through this type of stuff. So on that note, guys, I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to everybody who's reached out. Thank you to anybody who's watched this video all the way to the end. And don't worry, guys. This ain't going to stop me. This ain't going to knock me down any further than... I've been in a lot worse situations. This is just another speed bump in my life. I appreciate everything everybody does and will do. And I love you all. God bless you all. And I'll keep in touch and keep everybody updated as I know.